All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about why I stopped being a psychotherapist. One of the main reasons, and I'm going to talk about the most difficult human being to work with on the planet. If you are a coach, a therapist, or any kind of practitioner working with other human beings. Okay, you could be a health coach, you could be a fit finance coach, whatever. So, I'm also going to show an animation here that I think is really cool that illustrates this whole thing. So stay tuned for that in a moment. Whenever we get hurt, we go into our victim seat, right? And a lot of people, maybe you, but perhaps someone you know, they never get out. They never know what to do. So watch this video, and I'm going to riff off this once we share this, okay? So I'm going to share how to overcome victimhood. When you get hurt by someone, you become a victim. You're in a valley. That person that hurt you, we'll call them the villain. And if you're normal, you want someone to take your side. We'll call them the rescuer. This creates a stable triangle. But you don't want to stay in the valley of victimhood, right? So the work is to see any painful experience like this as an opportunity to grow and take personal responsibility. When you do this, you turn this triangle upside right and become an author on top of the mountain with a much better view. You become more self-aware, self-confident, and resilient. You're more attractive to other people, and most importantly, you like yourself more. Okay. So that short illustration captures it, all right? You may know someone who falls into this trap of being a victim, right? V for victim, valley of victimhood. That happens to all of us, okay? No one's above this. No matter how hard you try or how great you think you are, you're going to fall into the victim seat, particularly when you get hurt or betrayed or something negative happens to you in your life, all right? If you're coaching someone or you're doing therapy with someone and they are stuck there, okay? This is by far the most difficult person in my 30 years of working with humans. This is the most stuck human and the most difficult to work with. Now, some psychotherapists will get into a weird rescuer-victim dynamic where the victim pays the rescuer, the therapist, and the therapist listens but has tried a bunch to help the victim, but the victim keeps staying there. And these two get in a weird codependent relationship that I don't think serves anybody. So I began firing my clients, and then eventually I fired myself because I was like, God, I don't know how to help these people. And there's just some of us get super identified in the victim position, and it's very hard to get out because it becomes an identity. Learned helplessness, if you want to look up that term, Google that term. It's a phenomena that basically children learn to be helpless, and then they get things by being helpless. Now, if you have a disability or chronic illness, of course, that's a different story, but I'm talking about like normal people. It's very hard for anyone to help the victim that is entrenched in victimhood and doesn't want to get out. And this is one of my favorite tools to work with the victim is motivational interviewing. So let's say you're working with a person with an addiction and they're trying to stop their addiction. Well, if they've tried for years and they can't seem to do it, we could say, well, you don't want it bad enough. Now, people who support victimology would say, no, they're helpless. They've tried their best and they can't do anything about it and they can't change. So they have a disease and they're going to be a victim forever or addicted to whatever forever. And I just don't believe that. I think it's very disempowering to take that view that you don't believe in a person's potential to overcome this. And the people that get sober in the addiction world learn, and they apply themselves with great zeal, ferocity, and effort to overcome, to learn about themselves, to learn where their addiction came from, whether it's runs down the family line or not, whether they had trauma in their childhood or not. They don't care. They're like, I'm going to stop doing this because it's hurting me, it's hurting my life, it's hurting other people, and I'm just going to change. Why is it that some people can do that and others can't, right? Why is that? So with the victim, you want to use a technique called motivational interviewing. You can Google that. It's really interesting. And motivational interviewing is really, you're just trying to help the person see that they don't actually want that much help and they're not quite ready to change. And that's okay. There's like no judgment. It's like, look, let's just be honest. You're not really ready to change. And, or you don't want to change, and that's okay. And I think this is a great way to challenge clients and people Some people just don't want to do it. It's not a high enough priority yet for them to change. So, can you work with a victim who is entrenched? It's almost impossible unless, this is the key move, unless they have some part of them that can see their victim and say, you know what, I'm tired of the results I'm getting in my life. I'm tired of the way I'm acting. I'm blaming everybody. I'm blaming myself. I can't seem to get out of this hole that I'm in. And I'm ready to change it. That person, of course, you can help them because they're saying, I'm stuck. And another person you can help is saying, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of ambivalent about change because I'm getting a lot out of being a victim with my addiction or my health problems or my relationship problems or whatever. Yeah, they just don't want to change. And if you ever suggest things like, hey, you should try this, or hey, you should try that, or you give them advice and they never follow through, or they try and they fail miserably because they don't really try, these are the people who genuinely don't want to change. My move is when I feel into this after some time working with someone, it could be one session, it could be many, I stop working with them. I fire myself so I don't make them wrong. I just say, you know what, I'm not the best person to work with you because it seems like we're making no traction and I've tried everything in my tool belt and it doesn't seem to work. So I think you need a practitioner that's, more skilled than me. So that's a great way to exit a victim kind of rescuer dynamic and move on to people who are really hungry to change and who want it and who are willing to put in the effort and do the reps. Okay. Leave a comment below if this was helpful. If you can relate to this, if you know what I'm talking about, you have a family member or someone in your life that's that's just super stuck, I'd love to hear from you. Just leave a comment. I read all those comments, so please do. And, in our coaches training, we teach you how to not work with these kind of people if you're ever interested in that. Thanks. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video.